Buying a home is more than just a transaction. It's a journey. And for many, it can feel overwhelming, confusing, and even a little scary. But hey, you're not alone. Welcome to From Rents to Roots, Home Ownership with Work Hard Mortgage, where we share real stories from real people who have navigated the home buying process. In each episode, we sit down with first-time homebuyers, industry experts, and real estate professionals to talk about the challenges, surprises, and lessons they've learned along the way. If you're dreaming of owning a home but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome, Bryce Mitchell, to From Rents to Roots, where we get to talk to really good realtors that are doing really good stuff here in Utah. So anyhow, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's kind of get to know you here first a little bit. Originally from Utah, how long you been here for?
Yeah.
Where you from?
Born and raised in Spanish Fork.
Okay.
So Utah County boy.
Yep.
I grew up there. And then we moved to Lehigh about 6 years, me and my wife, 6 years ago. And we live up on Traverse Mountain. We've been north end of Utah County as it gives us access to Salt Lake. And my wife works in Draper. And most of my business is here in Utah County, South Salt Lake County.
Okay. And so talk to me about real estate then. How long have you been doing real estate for?
About 23 years.
Okay. Same time, we probably started about the same time.
Probably,
then,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's hard to even remember. I think I got my license late 2002, and I don't think I closed my first deal till 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 1 year old.
Yeah.
1 year,
Thanks,
1 year old.
Make us feel a little bit older.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what got you into real estate? Why'd you go into real estate? Was that something you always wanted to do?
No. So I actually I thought I was going to be an accountant.
Okay.
So I did an accounting internship. That's when I realized accounting is really boring.
Sure. Yes.
But I did always like kind of numbers, math, that kind of stuff. Real estate was a family thing, so I kind of grew up around the business. So my dad had his license, but he was a banker, and so he ended up doing mortgage loans. He started in commercial lending and then switched to mortgage loans until he retired a few years ago. But and then my grandpa was a realtor and a builder. Yeah. And my great grandpa was a realtor, developer, builder, and so.
So you definitely got real estate in your blood.
Yeah. And so I started, my uncle had a brokerage. That's where I started. And it was actually, let me back up. So first I started in construction. Our family had some development that we were doing in Spanish Fork. And I just started when I was 15, cleaning up the job sites, worked up to lead foreman, a framing crew. And one day in the winter, we showed up to frame a house and had to shovel about a foot of snow off the subfloor, and that's when I was like, hey, I need to figure something else out. And so real estate was an easy jump, especially coming from construction and with the family ties. So.
Yeah. Have you been able to leverage any of those family ties as far as with getting business and jump-starting your own career and stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. I think a lot of it goes, so when my great-grandpa was doing development building, he was doing a lot. So he had developments all over Utah County, all the way up into Tremonton, and would fly back and forth to check on progress. He had a pilot's license and a little plane that he flew around in. And later it was mostly just my uncle who had a small brokerage when I started. And so a little bit of that name recognition carries over, but not as much now. It's faded a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to get Jordan here involved a little bit with
pipe up anytime, Jordan.
Dude, I know. I was just like, these guys are old.
He's spectating.
No, I was like, they're so old. I can't relate at all.
So let's talk about how young and inexperienced Jordan is. And it's okay. So, get a little dig if you're going to call us old.
Oh, I thought it was funny.
So here's a question for you.
Yes.
Obviously, you've been doing it for a little while and stuff like that. This is a hard industry to break into, frankly.
Yeah.
Real estate lending, these kind of things it's just hard because it takes a while.
Harder than everyone thinks.
It really is, right? And speak to those first few years, to what did you do? And then I guess kind of a piggyback question to that would be any advice you would give this guy as far as starting off? Because I think a lot of times people think, hey, it's easy, I can just make all this money, but there's a lot of people that don't make it in this industry.
Yeah.
And obviously you've done well. So speak to that for a second.
Yeah, so in getting to know Jordan, so it's actually in a way been good for me because after doing it for so long, when you first start out, I remember that experience barrier. Always feeling like you're not experienced. How do you sell yourself to someone when you don't have that track record to prove yourself or to show?
Yeah.
And I just remember at that point, it was like, okay, what do I have? I have a deep hunger and drive to be successful. And so I think if you can show that side of yourself, that's how you overcome that experience barrier. And just being upfront with people, yeah, I'm new, but I want to get this done. I want to make this happen. I'll do whatever it takes. If there's something I don't know, I have well-qualified people to back me up that I can go to get those
That was
answers.
pretty much the first conversation that we had. Yeah. I remember me and Kayla, we walked into Equity, and he was the only one at his desk.
Yeah.
And so we went in. I just went in, and sometimes you just have to be brave. That's just kind of how it is, because it's like,
can't be afraid
I have a
of
soft
rejection.
face, not strong features, and then there's Bryce that has this stoic personality. And you're like, jeez. All right, let's go in there and let's strike up a conversation. But it's like, yeah, to be honest, still don't know nearly as much as anybody in the industry should know. But it's like, it's fun to learn, and it's fun to just be in it every day and kind of show yourself, okay, I can do hard things, and I can do things that make me uncomfortable, but the payoff is so worth it after some time. And then it's like, we've almost been doing this for a year now, and it's like, you just learn so much in your first year, and I think the second year is going to be, I can already see that it's going to be a lot easier than the first year. So you just kind of have to get over the hump and be okay with not knowing everything. It's the bump that I got over. But anyways, I don't know if that's the same with you.
And that's kind of been what's cool about getting to know Jordan, is it's kind of reminded me of that hunger and drive.
Yep.
You lose that a little bit because you become
totally
a little jaded, I feel like, and you talk to prospects or leads, and you get to know a little bit about their situation. You're like, okay, their budget, this is not workable.
Yep.
And so you're hesitant to want to spend time on that. But I think, I don't know, just because of getting to know Jordan, but it's definitely been a helpful reminder that, hey, I need to see these through until these people disqualify themselves, either by their limitations of their budget or expectations or unwillingness to move towards action.
Which you bring up a good point, because obviously I've been doing it a similar period of time as you. You do sometimes, I can tell right away this person can't qualify. You know what I mean? And so sometimes it's not worth my time. But
Pass them off to Jordan.
Yeah, pass them off to Jordan. Yeah, exactly. Right? But the reality is, if we go back to what I think we like to do, is really help people, right?
Yeah,
we're trying to help people. And a lot of times people need a little bit of shepherding, a little bit of hand-holding, a little bit of, let me kind of lead you there. And I found people that if they're highly motivated, there might be a path, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if they're not, then it's harder. I can't make you buy a house. I can't get you there. But I don't know.
You have to see that through.
You do have to see that.
Until either you see there's absolutely no path, or the people aren't willing to pursue it long enough to find whatever possibility there could be for them.
There's like an example of today about a motivated buyer that luck just did not roll their way. She's a little older, and it's like she just doesn't have the funds. Like, medical bills has just drained her credit, drained her wallet, and it's like, but just from talking to her, you're like, okay, there's something there. There's always a path, and it might not be so cut and paste, because what I've learned is obviously the golden opportunity that like you want to work with, of just like, yep, they have a good credit, big down payment, and they want a good size house, and they have everything in place, and they make enough money. Boom, get them approved. And it's like, you just can't like always expect that when you're new. I feel like
Those
you're not entitled to that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it does define who you are, like, in the long run. It's like, okay, if I'm down the road, am I gonna lose that part of me that's, no, let's work this because there's nothing else to work right now, so what else am I gonna do? And it's like, yeah, I might not, but I don't want the person to feel like I'm not there to help them out in any way that I can. So if I can't get them approved now, then let's make a plan to get you approved. And it's just funny because she was 69, older than my parents. And it's like, I am 24, helping her understand how to qualify for a mortgage. So it's like, age doesn't really become relevant after like you have the knowledge and confidence to go ahead and like you said, like shepherd people. And that was like, it's fun. I don't know if it ever gets boring for you guys to help people. But it's just like, it is kind of something that like, and we have a call tomorrow, and I have to tell her that there's some things that we got to work on. But like, I just feel like when you are young, it's like you need both. Like, you need experience, but then you also need, like you said, reminders Or just like, okay, there are people that like we can see stuff through, and it's not going to be money now, but that's still okay.
And I will say, the ones that have a big down payment, easy to qualify, those are nice. But I think the more rewarding ones are the ones that take a little bit of figuring and work. And when you get it done, it's like, hey, look what we made happen because we stuck with it.
Yeah. On that note, do you have any, you've been doing it for a little while, any stories stand out to you of people who were like, oh man, this one person had this experience and stuff like that, and it really helped them through it, or kind of, just something that really stood out? Or
nothing that off the top of my head that really stands out, but there's people I've worked with for years that just staying in front of, are you ready? We're working on our credit, or people that have filed bankruptcy and stayed in touch with them for 7 years till that clears off their credit and they're able to actually buy. And so I have some stories like that. But
so speak to that a little bit, because a lot of times buyers, it's scary to buy a home, right? A lot of anxiety and different things like that. So speak to that process and why a realtor comes into play here, because again, it's not click, buy home, okay, we're done, right?
Yeah.
There's more to it, right? And so sometimes years, like you just mentioned, right? Sometimes people do that. Absolutely. And so why, what have you found in that area as far as really helping people get there?
Yeah, so I think it's just, like you mentioned, it is scary. And a lot of that anxiety comes from the unknown, right? That's the human brain, is the things we don't know. Even myself, I'm sure you're the same. Issues come up with mortgages that you're not sure. I know you trust Ryan knows the answer, but...
yeah, that's actually what I told her today. I was just like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I was just like, but the only person that does is Ryan. And if he doesn't have any idea, then we probably can't do it. Yeah. And I was like, it is nice having, but anyways, back to you.
Yeah, and I think so with that anxiety and the fear of the unknown, and a lot of times we take for granted how much we know because we're doing it all day. And so I think that's where we help people the most, is just by helping them understand and fill in the gaps of where their knowledge lacks, informing them what to expect. And I think probably most importantly, and what I've seen lately, especially in this market with a little bit higher interest rates, stubborn interest rates.
Yeah, I know.
But is that it's safe to browse homes on Zillow and see what the market is, and even go tour a few homes, but making that jump from, okay, we're browsing, we're looking at homes, to actually closing on a home. It takes strategy, and that's where the real estate and a mortgage partner comes in, is coming up with that strategy fit for that client, that helping them understand the strategy eliminates a lot of that anxiety and fear of the unknown. And so that's where I'm seeing success right now with buyers in this market, is just getting serious and taking that step to have a consultation, speak with an agent, come up with a strategy, and then being willing to take that leap to move on it.
I liked how you phrased that. It does take a strategy, and it does, because I'm watching the NBA playoffs right now, and each game is different from the last just because each team tweaks it on what they've seen in the past. And it does take, it's to the untrained eye, it's just basketball, just put the ball in the hoop. But it's like there's a whole team and there's millions of dollars that's put into that team for them to put the ball in the hoop, and it gets really complex. And it's so, like, using a mortgage broker and the right realtor, like, that's like a dangerous pair. Like, honestly, like, it's a dangerous team if you have all the pieces of the puzzle behind you helping you make the correct strategy. And I think that's a really cool way to put it, like the team effort involved, the behind the scenes.
And on that note, so the team effort and stuff, but talk to me about buyers. What advice do you have for buyers right now? Is it a good time to buy? So a lot of people are waiting to buy, right? I'm waiting for interest rates to drop, but I've been waiting 3 years now. So talk to me about that. Is it a good time to buy? What advice do you have for buyers? Should they keep renting indefinitely? What?
I'm sure you know the answer to this, but it's the best time to buy was always last year or yesterday or now's the best time to buy. Interest rates might not be ideal. You're not married to the interest rate. You can refinance. Rates get lower. Home prices aren't going down anytime soon. That's only really happened once in my lifetime, and that was a pretty unique situation. I don't see home prices going down, and I don't think waiting, throwing your money away at rent, hoping that interest rates drop 1% while home prices continue to increase, just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I actually was studying today just about mindset, and it was like, do you want to be on the transactional side of, okay, you pay rent So you're on the side of your landlord's transaction, or you go buy coffee and you're like paying their agency to make you something that you could do for yourself. And it's like, don't you want to be on the other side of that transaction where you're the one receiving money for your assets? And so I think the time now is, if you can't qualify now, then at least come up with the strategy so that you can qualify, and then turn the tables where you're on the better side of the transaction, receiving money for your assets instead of paying somebody for theirs.
No, absolutely. That's a good point. And we need renters because I have a lot of investor clients as well, and that buy rentals. It's which side of that equation do you want to be on?
Yeah, you're paying somebody's mortgage.
Yeah.
Do you want to pay your own, or do you want to pay somebody else's?
Yeah.
Why? A lot of times people wonder, hey, do I even need an agent? Tell me why you would say a buyer should have an agent. Why is that important?
So many reasons, but I think the first one is strategy.
Yeah.
Like we just talked about, is just every situation is different. Every buyer's unique in what they qualify for, what their financial situation is, what their needs are for a home. And so coming up with a strategy that fits you, that's going to help you find the best home. That's the number one. Yeah. I feel like. Number two is every transaction is different. Every home is different. Issues that come up during the transaction and how you navigate those. Yes, there are deals that are quick and easy and smooth, but that's not even, I wouldn't even say the majority of them. I'm a minority for sure. And so having someone that's experienced, that knows how to navigate those issues as they come up, appraisal issues, home inspection issues. I even had a client once that on a listing, I sold their house. There was an issue with a culvert in front of the house that the irrigation company came back to the new buyer and said, hey, you need to replace this culvert. It ended up going to court. Oh, wow. I had to go to court with my client to help them out. So just issues like that do come up, and that's why having a realtor who's backed by the Realtor Association and is experienced and knows how to navigate those and can help protect you, keep you out of legal trouble, and also keep the deal moving.
Yeah. Which, have you seen, especially with the settlement, the NAR settlement and different things like that, have you seen realtors really having to up their game and show, hey, why I'm important, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I do think so. In fact, I don't know if this is true, but I watched do you follow Brian Buffini?
Yeah.
I watched his bold predictions at the start of the year, and they were saying that 20% of agents were going to leave the industry this year just because it's difficult. And if you're not willing to provide that level of service, buyers don't need someone who just sends them a million listings and they pick from, and then you write up some paperwork. That's, to me, not what an agent does. To me, it's strategic. I'm sending you these properties that match what you're looking for, or that work in a way that we can write an offer to get you closing costs paid or points down on your mortgage paid. So specific tailoring to a client. I think that's where you're going to see real estate over the next 5 to 10 years, especially with AI.
Yeah.
Because AI can send you listings. We're seeing it on all the major search sites now. Use AI. So I think unless you're willing and able to provide that next level, is probably...
Yeah. Again, where agents are necessary, right? What about on the selling side of things? Is now a good time to tell me your thoughts on the market as far as selling goes right now? I know there's a lot of listings out there right now and stuff.
Yeah, inventory's increased, which I think see as a good thing. It's still a seller's market. We're nearing a more balanced point in the market, but it's still a seller's market.
Okay.
I think if you're looking at days on the market average, as well as the inventory replacement. I can't remember what that metric's called, but based on all that, it's still a seller's market, and it's the same with sellers. It's strategy, and so anybody can throw a sign in the yard, sign the listing agreement, and pray that it sells on the MLS. But the homes that I'm seeing that are selling now in this market are priced strategically, staged strategically, have professional photos, house plans, or a 3D walkthrough, something that helps them stand out. And there's really only two things that sell a home is pricing and marketing. And that's where a good realtor helps you with both of those.
And I think a lot of people maybe miss that part where, hey, I'm just putting it on. They're glorified opening the door or something like that. But again, there's a lot that goes into pricing that home, whether you price it high and try to get the best thing, or you price it mid-range and multiple offers. Again, there's
strategy there, right? It's not
Absolutely.
it's human nature always wants a deal, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a bidding war, okay, I don't want to lose out then too, right? And stuff.
And that all comes down to, again, the client's situation. What is their need, their timeline? Do they need to sell fast? Are they okay to sit on the market for a while and see if they can get top dollar? Or it's all tailored to a specific client and their situation. And that's where I think, again, just having a realtor who's experienced and strategic and knows the market well.
Yeah.
It's always frustrating when you go to compete for listings and then you find out you lost out to the cousin who does it part-time,
Yeah.
who just got their license, and it's okay. Good luck.
To clear the throat.
I don't
All
need
right.
to sound like, but good luck.
It's a little too close to home for me and Bryce.
So why you say, so that guy that does one deal a year versus you, why, just speak to that. Why, he's my uncle, but he's got a license, he's going to save me some money and stuff like that. I don't know, speak to why that may not be the best move for them.
Yeah, I just think having someone who's in the market every day, who knows, I'm getting email reports every day on all the market movements. So I'm seeing what homes are selling for, how long they're sitting on the market, what homes are coming on the market, what those are priced at,
Yeah.
As well as touring homes with buyers every day, arranging showings with the sellers on listings. It's just having someone who's navigating that constantly, I think, is the clear advantage. And why would you not want every advantage possible when you're
Yeah.
selling most people's largest asset?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I'm like getting brain surgery and there's a part-time brain surgeon or somebody
Yeah.
that's been doing it every day,
Yeah.
practicing his craft and doing it, and the commission is the same?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm probably going to choose the one that's in the market every single day.
And that's the travesty with our industry, right? Is we've never gotten, well, and part of that's for a reason, the stigma of, I think, realtors, I'm not sure about mortgage people, but you guys are probably a rung or two above
Sure.
realtors, but realtors always get a bad rap. It's next to a car salesman.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but we are professionals, and
Yeah.
at least some of us are.
Well, I think the brain surgeon guy, I doubt there's probably very many bad brain surgeons, would be my guess, but with realtors, again, the barrier to entry is little.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
and so,
everyone wants to say that.
Yeah.
But like we talked about at the beginning, if you consider the time and energy and experience that you have to gain to actually break into the market. So yeah,
Yes.
getting your license is not difficult, but becoming an actual, like, feeding your family on selling real estate, if you consider that the barrier to entry, then I would argue that it's not very little.
I would agree. And the licensing is easy.
Yeah.
But to be able to stay in this market, to be able to actually make a living, to be able to actually do these things, that's the reps you need. If we go back to the brain surgeon, that's why they go to school for so long, is doing this thing over and
Exactly.
over, right?
Yeah.
Because frankly, it just takes reps to do it. It's not something that's overnight happening.
No. Yeah.
And so that's what, with Jordan starting off and kind of getting in this industry, it's the reps.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
not a brain surgeon on this.
but the more you do it, the better you'll get again.
Yeah.
And it just takes time. And that's the benefit of being part of a team is, again, we got you, but the more reps you do,
Yeah.
the better you get at it, right?
The more reps, and also the more reps you get, hopefully you start to build systems.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
To make your job easier, to make it repeatable, scalable. I think that's the direction everyone in our industry should hopefully be heading if they're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And I also think, kind of going back to it, like, we can turn out experience means a better experience for a client. But we can also turn it and go down the route of, okay, if we are a dime, like if we are just like everybody else and everybody views us like, oh, a realtor's the same as this realtor, even though the resume is completely different. And we talked about like new, and like really the only thing that you have to offer is like being hungry and really being willing to work the shiz until you're out of it, the deal. But like, we really want to turn it, it's like, what have you seen that really separates you from the realtors that are in the same? Like, we can talk about new. It's not really that hard to be better than the new one. But it's like the ones that are in the industry, like, how have you separated yourself from the ones that are on the same like level as you, per se?
Yeah, I think a lot of realtors who find success focus on a niche. I don't necessarily focus on a niche, but I do see a lot of realtors I know realtors who focus on 55 plus communities.
Sure.
And then you have your luxury agents, you have your new construction specialists. I think it seems counterintuitive because you think you cast a wider net, you catch more fish.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work that way. It's like you build your specialty. And so I see that with other agents. I don't really have a niche, so I guess maybe I haven't separated myself.
Maybe you haven't had to. You haven't needed to.
Yeah,
You're obviously doing well.
But I do enjoy doing some off-market land deals. A goal of mine is eventually to get into some development and more investment type stuff. And so that's kind of what I'm working toward. But I love helping people. I think the most rewarding deals for me often are first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
I love seeing people get into their first home. Those are often also the most difficult ones, like we talked
Sure.
about before, is they're people that have probably worked for a while to save for a down payment and to get their credit cleaned up and qualified for a loan. And one of my last closings was a first-time home buyer family, and just seeing the joy in their face and
Yeah.
the excitement, and even their little kids were so excited
Yeah.
that they were getting a new house. And it was a first time home buyer home, so it was a smaller home in Provo, but they're so excited for it, and it's a nice home. But it's just, I love that. That's the reward. That's kind of what gives me the fuel to keep going. And
Sure.
and so it's hard to want to totally move away from that. So that's probably partly why I haven't, because I also do, like, I have some higher end clients. I've got a $2 million build job in Draper going, and
Yeah.
I closed another couple $2 million deals last year. So those are fun too, and
Yeah,
it's
of course.
nice to mingle in that world. But I think just the fuel that you get from seeing the excitement of people who have really had to work hard to try to make homeownership happen is, to me, that's what keeps me going.
And I think I like it. You see, it's a smaller home and stuff like that. I think a lot of times first-time home buyers want that house that mom and dad have.
Yeah, that's been a shift just in the time I've been
Yeah.
a realtor. When I first started, it was you buy a smaller, older home, you fix it up and build equity, and then you go to your move-up home.
Yeah.
That has definitely shifted. First-time home buyers, a lot of them now want brand new, so they end up in a townhome, which townhomes are great.
Sure. Yeah.
But they're also slower to build equity.
Yeah.
They're the first to take a hit if the market softens. And so I don't know. It's been a weird shift, but I definitely have seen that throughout my career.
And I guess I think why is that important? Why is that a good route to take, to start small and go? If you were speaking to
Like your kid.
to new buyers and stuff like that, yeah, to your kid, why is that a smart way to go?
It's the land. The land is the irreplaceable commodity. So I think any home you can buy, if it's a small lot that's going to have a larger lot than a townhome, that's going to appreciate more, because that's the not disappearing, but
There's limited supply,
yeah,
right? They're not making any more.
limited supply.
Yeah.
So I think that's why single family homes just hold their value better because of that. They appreciate faster generally because of that. And to me, that's the better route.
Okay. As far as the market goes in general, what are you seeing as far as changes, as far as inventory goes, and just changes here in Utah real estate? Anything you're seeing that's happening here in Utah?
I mentioned inventory's been increasing
Yeah.
a little bit. It's still a seller's market. I also think I've noticed, so the first time home buyer market, kind of 650 and lower,
Yeah.
I think is moving really well, especially if they're priced properly.
Okay.
And then you have the soft spot between 650 and maybe 950 to $1 million.
Yeah.
That's your move up buyer. People don't want to leave their 2 and 3%
Yep.
mortgages to take on double their mortgage payment or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
so there's a soft spot there. And then I think also the high end homes are still moving well, just because people who can afford those $1.5 million plus
Yeah.
aren't as affected by interest rate. Either they don't care or they're paying cash.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm seeing in our market. And also a lot of it's driven by new construction. I feel like there's been a lot of new construction here over the last 5 to 10 years. And that's been a real driving force, I think, in keeping our market moving.
Yeah, the new construction stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. perfect.
Sorry, you just stared at me, and I was just like,
I'm staring at you?
Yeah, well,
You're staring at me.
Okay.
Spectator?
no, that's my bad. No, everything's my fault, and I get it. It's fine.
That's right,
whatever.
it is.
I was just about to say, I was like, that was a good time to wrap up.
Bryce, it's been great to get to know you a little bit, to talk to you a little bit. Obviously, you're doing really well. Talk to me about, from a lending standpoint, what are you looking for in a lending partner? And you're going back to the team thing, why is that even important for any buyers listening? But so 2 questions there.
Yeah. And taking that back even to the question you had about why it's important to have a realtor.
Yeah.
And it's because of those trusted partners. So a realtor, especially one that's full-time, that's been active in the market consistently, is going to have those A1 lending partner, home inspectors, home warranty, referrals, handymans, whatever it is, they're going to have a system, a network around them that's going to benefit their client. And so to me, number one with the lender has always been communication. That's my biggest thing on any referral partner that I work with, is just communication. When my dad did mortgages, I sent a lot of business to him.
Sure.
Just because it was easy. I talked to my dad all the time.
For sure.
If something come up, I knew about it immediately.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to navigate those issues when they come up. And so that's same thing just with the lender, is just number one, communication, and number two, willingness to see it through, like we've talked about as well. So I love when lenders are willing to, even if someone doesn't qualify right now, help them come up with a plan, stay in touch with them, and help them get there.
Good. No, I love that. Because again, not everybody's ready right away, right? Kind of thing. And so it does take time to kind of get them to a place where they can be ready.
Wait, did I answer both of your questions? What was that second one?
Just about, so you did actually, because we were talking about why a lender is important. In fact, I think you hit on something important. And I found this with new construction and stuff like that, where for a little while, when like during COVID, we wouldn't let people build homes that were one-off, right? If they didn't have connections and stuff, because they couldn't actually get a home built, because they didn't have the connections and stuff like that. So to your point, again, having those connections, those trusted people, because if you're a one-off deal, people don't make a lot of money off you off just one, and so they're not going to.
Yeah, you get to put to the bottom of the list.
Correct, exactly. In the perfect world, you're not. You're important and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if I have a steady stream of income coming in from this contact versus this is a one-off deal, who am I going to prioritize? The one that sends me deals regularly, or the one that's a one-off, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I think, again, that's where, to your point, when you refer a buyer to a lender, hey, no, we're going to take care of them because you want to keep getting Bryce's business, so we're going to take care of that person, right? Again, ideally we do that with everybody, but if there is limited time and limited resources, you do prioritize the ones that are coming from a source, right?
Yeah.
And so,
absolutely.
anyhow, just to add validity to what you're saying there. But Bryce, is there anything we didn't hit on that you would like to talk about before we end here?
No, I think we covered everything that and more that I was thinking. So like I said, this is my first time doing anything like this, but it's been a great experience, and I'm thankful for you guys having me on.
Good. Yeah. No, we'll have to do it again sometime. So I appreciate you coming on. And again, glad you're doing well, and keep helping people make the biggest purchase of their lives. So
thank you.
But appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for tuning in to From Rents to Roots. I hope today's episode gave you insight, confidence, and maybe even a little inspiration on your homeownership journey. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might find it helpful. And if you're ready to take the next step in buying a home, or just have questions, reach out to me or my team at Work Hard Mortgage. We'd love to help you on your path to homeownership. Until next time, keep working hard, keep building your future, and we'll see you soon.